off and going, and the long lead is, I've almost run out, it's almost like a dog lead. And once he got round the corner, he was happy, he stopped, thankfully, before I run out the lead. And he unplugged, and apparently this is posted on YouTube, and quite a lot of people have been laughing at it. He did apologise when he saw YouTube, bless him. Done another couple more taxis, that was his first little walk around. Then he done a low speed run, then he done a high speed run with a chute. So now we have tested every single system on the aircraft. We have run all the engines and everything on the aircraft. They have been out in the aircraft and tested it virtually to take off. So everything has all been checked and tested, they were happy. And then, the other training that they've done, obviously they couldn't fly a Vulcan, there wasn't one. So what the RAF actually offered was 10 hours in the flight simulator down at Bryce Norton. It's a multi-engine, multi-crew aircraft, so that they could get used to working together, and it's obviously from roughly the same vintage. So just give an idea of them working together. They had gone to Wellesbourne, which is a taxiing Vulcan, where they've done their evacuation drills and the other bits and pieces. So they've been doing all their own training as well. So in October, we're this lovely site. Stop throttling off, it was climbing so high because it was so light. You had to throttle back.
They didn't track the gear on the first flight.
People cried when that took off. Bet you wish the holiday pilots would have landed like that.
Sometimes do.
That's the crew that day. Far left hand side as you're looking. Al McDicken, he's a BAE test pilot, an ex-Vulcan captain as well, and he was the captain on the day, and that was the first time he'd flown the Vulcan in 20 years. So he didn't do too bad, and he didn't break it, so I let him fly it again. Middle one, you got Dave Thomas. He was the display pilot in the late 80s and the early 90s when he finally finished off. And then you have Barry Macefield, the aerotronics officer, or the flight engineer, who looks after the electrical power and the radios. That's our main crew nowadays. So, were they exhilarated? Yep. Are they all standing up? Yeah. Barry's not very tall. Publicity that day. Obviously, we had a lot of publicity, and the one I like is the one in the top right-hand corner. Made it in the sun. But if we had to go and pay for this advertising space in the papers, it would have been over £1 million. So quite a good coverage we had the following day there. Should be on grand design, shouldn't we? A year over and double the budget. Reason we've got a plus there is because I don't know how much. There's various manufacturers and people who keep losing the bill. Charge us cost, don't charge us. How much it's actually cost them, I honestly don't know. We're entirely grateful, but that's how much money we have spent. So, okay, we now have an aircraft that can fly. We've obviously got to go through its flight test procedures and all that up there. And we needed to do 2 test flights. First test flight was for the mechanicals, where obviously they would take up, they would go through all the undercarriage, recycle them all and everything. They would shut an engine down, hopefully it'd start again in the air. If that won't work, they'd try another one. So they'd go through all the mechanical side of it and all the handling characteristics. Land away at another base, because what we had to do, because obviously we've replaced all the new avionics and new compass systems, we had to go and calibrate the compasses. And to do that, obviously you need a calibrated compass area. We didn't have none. So we had to go fly off to one of the RAF bases to use their compass band, and then once that was done, another flight test back for a couple of hours, going through all the new avionics and anything else that they haven't finished off. So, on a beautiful day then, I think it was around about April time, we took off from Bruntingthorpe and we was off to Cottesmore. Landed at Cottesmore, and we were starting to get into British summertime by then. The following day we went and done the compass swing. Took us between 12 and 14 hours in this glorious sunshine. And then when we flew off to go and do our second air test, because we thought we calibrated the system, one of the undercarriage doors didn't shut. Now again, we had to go to the BBC the first time, because they weren't there for our first flight takeoff. So we actually had over 20 minutes or half an hour live coverage on BBC News, and then the door didn't work. So, not a problem. They said, yep, it's okay, that's not a problem, we'll still go and do the avionics bit. So, that's good, because all of us are here at Cottesmore. And then, as we flew away, they said, oh no, we won't bother, we'll go to Bruntingthorpe instead. So everyone was in the cars, and off we went to try and get there before then. On the compass swings, what they found then, through the conditions we had, the compasses weren't set up properly, so we had to go and do another compass swing. So we decided to go to Coningsby this time because the weather was better. And as you can see, we have Chadwick's 2 designs there. So we've got the Vulcan with her older sister. There is actually 11 years difference in the flight tests between them 2 aircraft. And then we have the young Pretender now in the middle. When I grow up, I want to be a Vulcan.